and the Pacific Ocean, and extending from Queensland in the north to Victoria in the south, contains some of the world's finest dairying country. A large portion of this coastal land lies within the milk zone, an area of over 8,000 square miles from Wauchope in the north to Milton in the south and bounded by Lithgow in the west. Distribution of milk from over 5,000 dairies within the zone to great centres of population at Sydney, Newcastle, Wollongong and many country towns is the responsibility of the Milk Board of New South Wales. The board is constantly studying and improving all aspects of milk production, treatment and distribution. The Milk Board consists of a chairman, a producer's representative, and a representative of the consumers. The secretary attends all board meetings. The Farm Advisory Council meets at Milk Board headquarters. It is the governing body of all district councils, which were established by the Milk Board to encourage greater efficiency and to advise in all matters associated with production. These district councillors are examining a field of improved pastures. Knowledge gained is eventually disseminated and put to use in local demonstration and field work. This group of councillors is inspecting a series of dams recently built at the University Farm, Badgerys Creek. They are being shown a new system of water storage for the irrigating of pastures and farm crops, popularly known as water harvesting. Poor pastures such as these, due mainly to irregular rainfall, are all too common in parts of the milk zone. The Milk Board is vitally interested in any method of improving pastures for the dairying industry. As part of the water harvesting scheme, this dam being constructed at Badgerys Creek will store water for farm irrigation purposes, its capacity being in the vicinity of 6 million gallons. Dams such as this have been constructed in 2.5 days at reasonable cost by using 3 bulldozers. Dams on the property are filled by rainwater collected from adjacent slopes and fed by contour drains constructed for the purpose. Before applying water, the paddocks are sown with clover and pasture grasses and fertilized. This machine, known as a sod seeder, deposits the seed in inch-deep drills among the roots of natural pasture. As water is needed, it is drawn directly from the adjacent dam. The pump, mounted on steel-shod runners, is easily towed into position. Water can be distributed to the fields in readily determined and controlled quantities through a series of portable sprays. Several types of plant are in use. These low-volume sprays deliver 7 points of water an hour, whilst this high-pressure spray distributes water over a radius of 120 yards at the rate of 30 points an hour. As a result of water and the efficient use of fertilizer, land once barren now looks like this. Clear evidence of improved farming methods. Cows enter the prepared pasture at predetermined times. Portable electric fences both ahead of and behind the herd are moved forward a few yards each day to provide, by strip grazing, and accurately controlled, and the pastures are now as lush and rich as New Zealand's best dairy country. Water harvesting makes dairy farming in poor country a sounder economic proposition. It aims to increase production and to reduce feeding costs, which ultimately must benefit both producer and consumer. Little wonder that water harvesting is being extensively encouraged by the Milk Board. The Milk Board has also provided financial assistance to the establishment and support of an artificial breeding station for dairy cattle at Aberdeen. This is part of its constant endeavour to produce cheaper milk by more efficient methods of production. Only bulls of the very highest standard, with proven ability of transferring to their progeny a high milk production potential, are kept at this station. Within 2 generations, breeding from sires such as these could provide herds of the finest possible dairy cattle. When this type of breeding from this type of animal is more readily available, a greater number of higher standard dairy herds will be supplying milk for our ever-growing population. Dairy herds now grazing the pastures throughout the Milk Board zone of influence supply nearly 70 million gallons of milk annually to the board. Typical scenes such as these set in lush pasture can be seen daily in most parts of the milk zone. Milk supplied through the board comes from such popular breeds of dairy cattle as Jerseys, Guernseys, Ayrshires, Australian Illawarra Shorthorns, and Friesians. In preparation for milking, all milking sheds are thoroughly washed twice every day. The erection of modern hygienic sheds such as this is encouraged and supervised by the Milk Board. In addition to the bales, all milking machines, fittings and utensils are thoroughly washed, steam cleaned and sterilized twice daily immediately after use. A sterile solution is flushed through the cups and lines to ensure perfect cleanliness before milking. As milking time draws near, the cows are rounded up. It's a family matter on many farms. From the yard, the cows walk through a footbath before entering the bales. Before milking commences, the udder and teats are carefully washed with chemically treated water. This massage also stimulates the milk flow. Milk is checked for any abnormality before milking commences by the regular use of the strip cup. Modern milking machinery is now in almost universal use throughout the milk zone. The milk is drawn through stainless steel pipes by vacuum, which is vibrated by a mechanical make and break. Fresh, creamy country milk straight from the cow. It is now cooled and aerated as it flows over the farm cooler. The temperature is immediately reduced and any gases liberated. Now cool, the milk flows into 10-gallon cans, ready for dispatch to the local receiving depot. Immediately after filling, the cans are capped to safeguard against the entrance of dust and other impurities. There's no room for weaklings in the dairy industry. When full, the cans weigh well over 100 pounds. Immediately after milking, they're loaded in the farm utility for their short trip to the roadside boundary. Here, the cans are transferred to a large, modern enclosed transport truck, which calls on all farms twice daily, 7 days a week, to collect their milk for transport to the district milk receiving depot. Hundreds of covered trucks such as these, as required by Milk Board regulations, carrying thousands of cans, are constantly on the move over many hundreds of miles of country roads every day. The Milky Way indeed. And so to one of the many country milk receiving depots registered by the Milk Board. On arrival, trucks back right up to the receiving platform. The cans are quickly transferred to mechanical conveyors, which carry them to the tipping platform. Each can is individually checked by an expert grader as it comes off the truck. A sample is taken from the consignment of every individual farm and is tested for sediment. On arrival at the tipping platform, the milk is quickly poured into a stainless steel weighing tank. Skilled operators can handle up to 4,500 gallons of milk every hour. After being emptied, the cans are trundled through a mechanical washing machine operating a series of powerful jets. Here they are rinsed, washed with detergent, sprayed, and hot air dried. They eventually emerge gleaming and immaculate, like a lady from a beauty parlor. They are now reloaded onto the trucks for return to their respective owners. And all the time, the milk is constantly arriving. Further samples are taken from each consignment for chemical and bacteriological tests in the depot's laboratory under the supervision of the Milk Board. The laboratory is equal to any in the world for efficiency and for the skill of its technicians. Firstly, the butterfat content is determined. This is followed by many other tests, all adding their quota to ensuring a high milk quality. And again back to the tipping platform. The constant flow never ceases. Each individual... After weighing, the milk flows into a large tank. Through stainless steel pipes to plate coolers. Here it is brine cooled to a temperature of 36 degrees Fahrenheit. From the coolers it passes into large holding tanks. Inside the tank, mechanical agitation ensures a uniform distribution of the milk fat. Railway transport vans on arrival at the private siding of the country depot, as in the city, are washed and steam sterilized before receiving their cargo. When all is ready, the delivery pipe is inserted. Taps are turned on. Pumps are started, and the milk flows directly from tanks to the rail vans. The vans are finally sealed in readiness for transport to the cities. "200,000 gallons of milk are brought each day by rail from country depots all over the milk zone to the big city treatment plants. Special priority is granted by the Railway Department for these precious loads so that no time is lost in transit. Even in summer, the insulated rail vans prevent any noticeable rise in temperature during transit. We've seen the common, accepted method of milking. Now for something different. The Rota Vector, revolutionary in design and the only one of its type in Australia. This machine has been designed to milk 2,500 cows twice daily. The cows enter the building by a ramp and step directly onto a slowly revolving platform. This model illustrates the Rota Vector design. First, the teats are washed. The operations are clearly visible to an interested public audience. Then the cups are fitted. And the milk is drawn through sterile recorders and stainless steel pipes to a tank above the revolving platform. The Rota Vector contains 50 bales and makes one complete revolution every 10 minutes. A large roller traveling up a guide rail automatically opens a valve. It is eventually cooled and transported to the city. When milking is complete, the cups are removed. Gates are automatically opened, and after looking around to say goodbye, the cow steps off the platform. As seen in the model, the cows leave by a descending ramp. They eventually emerge outside. This bovine merry-go-round at Camden, New South Wales is a great attraction for tourists. The milk from the Rota Vector, like that from the farms, is railed to the cities. The train arrives at the siding of one of the city's great milk depots. No time is lost in connecting large, flexible pipes. The milk is quickly transferred to a row of freshly cleaned stainless steel tanks. Samples of the bulk milk are now taken for testing in the company's laboratory. Once again, as in the country, the butterfat content of the bulk milk is being determined. The methylene blue test determines the keeping quality of the milk. These, together with other tests, ensure that only the highest quality product results. After being transferred from the rail van to the holding tanks, remember, the milk is now fed to a balance tank which regulates the flow volume before entering the pasteurizer. The gleaming pasteurizing plant, like other sections of the depot, is under constant supervision of the milk board. The efficiency of the machines is automatically recorded and checked. By the pasteurization process of heating and cooling, the purity of the milk is ensured. Following pasteurization, the milk is transferred to a row of holding tanks. Here, as previously, samples are taken, this time for testing pasteurization efficiency. In the meantime, great trucks are constantly arriving at the depot, returning the empty milk bottles from consumers. It is essential that consumers promptly return empty bottles to maintain the efficiency of this service. The crates are placed on a moving conveyor belt. As they are removed from the crates, every bottle is carefully examined. Chipped, cracked, or contaminated bottles returned by thoughtless consumers are unfit for further use and are destroyed. The bottles, after passing examination, are placed on an endless moving belt. They are conveyed to the platform of the bottle washing machine. Here, like so many toy soldiers, they shuffle into place. crates are not forgotten. They too are thoroughly washed and sterilized before again being used. From the machine which washes and sterilizes 13,000 bottles every hour emerges a constant flow of gleaming, sterile glass. A trained operator minutely examines every bottle against an illuminated viewing screen. And then to the filling machines, each one of which is capable of filling 6,500 bottles every hour. Caps stamped from aluminium strip are automatically laid on the tops of each bottle. Next, they are secured, providing a perfect seal. A check is made for leaks, and the bottles are then packed into slowly moving crates. Next, through the cold room, from whence they emerge and pass directly to refrigerated trucks. The last word in modern refrigeration, Scamel trucks. These great vehicles are virtually refrigeration on wheels. From several city bottling plants, these wagons are constantly on the move, transporting their perishable cargo to the many suburban depots throughout the metropolitan area. On arrival at the suburban depots, the bottled cargo is transferred to the many familiar household delivery wagons. Your milk delivery is the only service that visits every inhabited street in every suburb every day. In every aspect of milk production, in its many stages of transport from country areas to you, the consumer, the Milk Board's watchfulness never ceases. The board is constantly studying and improving all avenues of production, treatment, and distribution. Through a high standard of healthy, contented cows and the practice of modern farming methods, through efficiency and skill in handling, nearly 70 million gallons of milk passes through the Milk Board each year. By modern equipment and the rigid enforcement of hygiene at all stages, from production to distribution, and above all, the splendid cooperation of organizations and individuals who make up the primary industry of milk production, it has been possible for the Milk Board of New South Wales to bring you this, the story of your daily milk.